Morning in progress.
This Shelton Metropolitan Park District meeting is called to order. Donna, would you do a roll call, please?
I will. Board Member Blush.
Here.
Board Member Stearns is absent this evening, and I don't see her on Zoom, so we'll move on to Board Member Gilmore.
Here.
Board Member Nesco.
Here.
Board Member Sherman. Here. Board Member Sapp. Here. And President Gutierrez.
Here. Thank you, Donna.
You're welcome.
Let's go to the consent agenda. Are we ready for a reading of the consent agenda? All right, Donna, will you please read the consent agenda?
I will. One item on the consent agenda is minutes of the special meeting that was held on November 5th, 2024.
Move the consent agenda as presented, as read.
Second.
All right, there's a motion to approve the consent agenda. Does anyone have any comments? No? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. General public comment. Donna, do we have anyone signed up to make general public comment?
I don't think we do.
Okay.
We will confirm. Yeah.
Dave's got his hand up, but I'm not sure that's why.
Oh,
There is no public
Dave
comment.
Redmond's hand is up,
Oh,
maybe.
excuse me, let me
Dave Redmond.
see if he would like to speak during
Okay.
SMPD.
Waiting for Mr. Redmond.
Dave Redmond, I can see your hand raised. Would you like to do a public comment?
Yeah, there we go. Finally got who to be. Yeah, for general public comments. Yeah, look, I come to these meetings every few weeks. And this week I'd like to take just a couple minutes and thank everyone for the support you've shown, and to remind everyone that most people just live a paycheck or two away from homelessness. Most people they work a daily grind, they pay the bills, and they try to make ends meet. And if something goes wrong, yeah.
House meeting, would you like to make this comment at our city council meeting?
Sorry, that's the one.
Okay,
My apologies, guys.
no worries. Thank you for your comments. All right. Let's go to the business agenda. There are no new business items this evening. Action agenda. Finance Director Mike Githens has information for us about the 2025 budget.
Good evening, President and members of the board. We're bringing to you the second reading of the Shelton Metropolitan Park District budget for 2025. There have been no changes in the budget. Everything remains as the original presentation.
Okay. Public testimony.
No, there isn't, Mr. President.
Do we have a motion?
Move to adopt resolution number SMPD 40-0924 as presented.
Any comments from the board members? Second from Mr. Blush. Any comments or questions? No? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. And now Mike has information about the 2025 ad valorem taxes.
Yes, thank you. So the document that was put in packet has been updated with what was left on the table for you this evening. We received numbers from the Mason County Assessor's Office on assessed value. Nothing changed with the assessed value itself, but the new construction value fell slightly. So you'll notice now that the regular levy for collections is an increase, but less of one and not even quite up to that 1%. So that's the only change. While it seems minor, we need to capture the exact amount that the assessor's office is certifying for us in values. And that's what it is. You'll see that same kind of a change a little bit later tonight.
Thank you, Mike. And any public testimony? Do we have? a
There
motion?
isn't, Mr. President.
Oh, thank you. Do we have a motion?
We're on 410924, correct?
Believe so.
Correct.
For 10924, that's correct.
I move to adopt resolution number SMPD 41-0924 as presented.
Give a first and second, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. This public hearing is closed and we'll resume the special meeting. We are canceling our next regular meeting because there's no business on December 17th. And this meeting is adjourned at 5:50 PM.
You'll need to unlock your iPhone first.
Doesn't like the gavel, huh?
My paperwork, so I got confused.
That's fine.
Everything.
It's all good.
Excuse me. Oh.
There you go. I wouldn't imagine. They made it anymore? I wouldn't imagine. Yeah, right, yeah, that's true, that's that thing. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm somewhere in all. You guys, right?
Welcome to the council meeting, November 19th, 2024. Anyone in the audience, if amplifying headphones, please raise your hand and we'll bring those to you. Not seeing any. Let's rise for the pledge, please. Pledge of allegiance to the flag, United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Donna, can you do a roll call, please?
Councilmember Fletch.
Here.
Councilmember Stern is on Zoom.
I'm here.
Mayor Nesco.
Here.
Deputy Mayor Sherman. Here. Councilmember Sapp. Here. And Councilmember Gutierrez.
Here.
Thank you, Donna. Does the council have any late changes to the agenda? City manager, any late changes?
Nothing tonight, Mr. Mayor.
Right. Council have any board reports to share? We're ready for reading the consent agenda? Donna, will you read the consent agenda?
Vouchers number 11165 through 111-887 and EFT payment numbers 773 through 781 in the total amount of $130,500. Try again. $130,560.38. Vouchers numbered 111913 through 111955 and EFT payments 782 through 803 in the total amount of $330,176.80. Payroll warrants numbered 4005 through 4010 and 13649 through 13752. Warrants 111888 through 111906, amount of $532,488.04. Minutes from the business meeting of October 1st, 2024, and the study session of October 8th, 2024.
Thank you, Donna. We have a motion.
Mr. Mayor, I move that we approve the consent agenda as read.
We have a motion and a second to approve the consent agenda as read. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. The council invites the public to make comment on matters of city business. Comments shall be made to the entire council and not individual council members. Please refrain from any personal or disrespectful remarks that create disruption of the meeting. And the reasonable disruptive conduct continue, you'll be asked to leave the meeting. Donna, you want to set up public comment?
Yes, we do, Mr. Mayor, and I think tonight I will start with Dave Redmond on Zoom since he was here earlier. So, Mr. Redmond, it's your turn.
Thanks, Donna. Here goes take two. So every couple of weeks, I take a few minutes. I speak at this meeting, and tonight I'd like to take a moment and remind everybody that most people just live one paycheck or maybe two from homelessness. These are people who work a daily grind, pay bills, and work to make ends meet. And if something goes wrong, they don't have the resources to cover anything, and they may lose their homes. And as a matter of fact, most of the formerly homeless people that provide lodging village did not become homeless because of drugs or alcohol or anything negative. The reasons they lost their home cover everything from medical emergencies to jobs going under, rent being raised, and so many other reasons. And I'd like to take a moment to talk about that. And I kind of pulled up some sources in an attempt to convey how close most people are to being in the same situation. According to data available from the Federal Reserve Board Survey of Consumer Finances, the median savings balance, not including retirement funds, of Americans under 35 is just over $3,000. And that jumps to just over $6,000 for people aged 55 to 64. And that may seem like a pretty good checkbook amount, but remember this, most Americans don't have any savings at all. According to Bankrate data from July 2022, 56% of Americans would be unable to cover an unexpected bill of $1,000 or more with their savings. So what that means is that Americans are very much, in general, undersaved. And it's my hope that maybe we as a community can make an effort to help find a solution instead of simply showing up and lodging random complaints to the council without any attempt to provide anything positive. All it does is spread hatred and create a toxic atmosphere. If any member of Shelton honestly wanted to help, they could visit the homelessness task force that was convened in June. And it's comprised of law enforcement, nonprofit service providers, community service members, etc. And the goal there was to include a wide range of experiences and perspectives on the task force to address the issues of homelessness that impact us all in so many different ways. If they are interested, the task force meets regularly at the Civic Center. The meetings are recorded and they're available to watch on YouTube. And ultimately, the task force is going to prepare a list of 6 to 8 recommendations to present to the city council. And the council will then decide how they'd like to approach these recommendations. So I'd like to take the time in this public forum to thank the people who volunteered to be on the task force, for taking the time from the daily grind to help. I'd like to thank the council for listening to recommendations that they make. And I'd like to thank the residents of Shelton for showing respect to their fellow residents. With that being said, thank you for letting me go first, and I appreciate the time.
Thank you, Dave.
We have one person signed up in the meeting, and that's Mike Wilson.
I just want to make a few comments. I attended your last study session on the TBD renewal, and I'm really happy with what it's done for the city. You guys handled the money really well. We've got some great projects that we've done, and I'm sure there's more in the future. Which brings me to the study session. The only thing I think you were kind of missing was some of the history and context of how this came about. This wasn't a very popular thing when we did this. In fact, it had been talked about for probably 20 years prior to that. And everywhere we went, or if people went, it was really shut down. It's a tax increase. Nobody wants it, no matter what the political climate is. I lost myself there for a second. But I want to show you the importance of you can't. Some of the comments I heard was that you wanted to possibly up the cost or up the amount of tax to the 0.03, or you wanted to couple it with a tab tax on license plates. And I think that you're making a mistake if you do that. I think this is almost a perfect system if you leave it alone and really educate the public of what you've done with the money and not try to mess with it. It'll pass again. But I think that you have to be real careful with this. It's like I say, it doesn't matter what the economic climate or political, people don't like tax increases. So I encourage you to leave it alone and just work with the public and educate them on this. And that brings me around to the next little comment along with your homelessness initiatives you're trying to work on. And it's I applaud you for that. I think it's a great effort. I think it needs to be done, but I think you got to be real careful again about. I heard talk of not letting the public vote on it. If you guys do this council-matic before the TBD comes up, I think you'll fail on the TBD. And $5 million goes a long way in our city for the roads we have. So I just want you to really kind of weigh those two options out. It's a tough choice, but like I say, people do not like to be taxed without representation. And if you do this council-matically, it's going to bite you bad, I believe. And you'll fail on the TBD when it comes up. Thanks.
Thank you, Mike. We have two presentations this evening. Our first item is an LTAC report from Liz Oppal.
Hello, thank you for giving me the opportunity to let you know what we're doing soon. What we did last quarter, so this is third quarter. Here you see a picture of Clarence Beauchamp, and he is working on the log monument, at least it looks that way. And then this was in 1953, and that was the Forest Festival Queen, Charlene Brown. So for third quarter, we had a total number of visitors of 1,029 who came through the door. When they walk in the door, we have a sheet, we have big little hash marks, so we know exactly how many people. We don't always know exactly where they came from. But in this case, you know, we ask people to sign in, we interview them when they come in, you know, subtly. And of those, we had roughly 91 people were from distances greater than 50 miles. And then 113 were from out of state. And those we were pretty sure about. The 91 is a little tricky. And then 20 international visitors. So we had people from Chile, we had people from Norway, Australia, you know, so they're coming a long ways. And, you know, the destination is the Olympic National Park. But if we can bring them in and slow them down, and get them to spend a little time in Shelton, that's always our goal. 81 calls, and not all from people wanting to help us with their our Google rather, and then 52 emails, which are pretty much research type questions, not just ads. So next slide, please. Facebook, these were our two top posts. We still have something, you know, 31 or 3,000 followers. I wrote it down because I can't read that up there. We got a lot of interest in a musical that they held in Port Angeles about John Turner. It was based on the book by Mike Fredson called Peace Man. And Mike went and saw it, was kind of horrified because it was a musical. But it's very interesting. And they ordered the book from us because I remember when the order came in and it said, we're writing a musical. And it's like, John Turner, a musical? Okay. And then the other thing too was an article about Mike Fredson again, and well, not about Fredson, but about the artist colony on Newton Canal. Next slide, please. Website traffic all pretty much reflects that. So this is from Square. Our biggest seller was the Artist Colony of Newton Canal book by Mike Fredson. That was an 800% increase from previous order. Next slide, please. Google Analytics did the same thing. Once again, you know, we're looking at 1,600 unique visits to our page and about 31 page views. Next. Here's the article that was in the Seattle Times. They came down and interviewed, or came down and talked to us. One of the guys is a member of the museum, and then his friend is the guy who did the article. He's a freelance writer. And so we got a lot of traffic from that, both online and in the museum itself. And it continues to be just a really interesting story of Ori Nobles and the artist colony and Olympus Manor. Our current exhibit is art and artistry of Clarence Bochiam. You know, as you saw earlier, he did the log monument. He also designed the big Santa that used to stand on Railroad Avenue. And I think it's out at Hunter Farms now. Along with, so he was the painter, sign painter for Simpson, and just he was just extremely clever. Did a lot of carving, painting, all sorts of things. So, and we have a really nice selection of his work at the museum, so you should come and see it. Next slide, please. This Saturday, we have at 2 p.m. we have a writer, Pamela McCall, who wrote a book called "'Twas the Night." So it's about art and history about the poem of the night before Christmas. And we also have books for sale, and she would design. Would like to join us for that? That would be great. Are there any questions?
Any questions? Thank you very much. Right, we have another report from Peter Peterson with the Chamber.
Good evening, Mayor, Deputy Mayor, and council members. I was here not too long ago, but I'm back to talk with you about our third quarter visitor services. As you're very well aware, the city is one of the partners in our funding strategy to provide visitor services at 3 locations. The heaviest traffic is, of course, the Hoodsport Visitor Center being at the staircase entrance to the national park, but we also have a visitor center in the chamber office and the caboose. So if we'll look at the next slide, it's going to primarily focus on, it'll include the counts for all 3. But you'll see there the maps and passes that we sell. And we have a really incredible partnership with the U.S. Forest Service and the National Park Service. And we have contracts with them that allow us to sell a variety of things and passes. So as folks are coming to the area, we can navigate to, do they need one? Do they need both? Are they crossing different areas? And we have an incredible group of volunteers who are able to help navigate that. We saw some, like the Northwest Forest Day Pass was up almost 400%. I've included here both the figures from this year and last year, as well as pre-COVID numbers, because of course we're always comparing how does this look to what used to be normal. So we can assess our services that we're providing there. And you'll see that phone calls have continued to remain stable. And we've actually forwarded calls from the Hoodsport Visitor Center so that if someone calls and they're busy or their office is closed, it gets forwarded to the chamber office proper so that someone's able to answer the phone and talk with those folks. They're usually looking for a little bit more hands-on itinerary planning than someone who's popping in to grab a brochure or a map. We continue to see as the maps and passes go through, but oddly enough, we had a really difficult time securing enough interagency American vehicle passes, and that was not unique to us. That was something throughout the region, that trying to get them federally to our area was difficult, and it's created a bit of a pain point for visitors to our area. So we are working with the National Park Service to see what we can do to ease that moving into the 2025 season. We had over 4,000 visitors, actually over 4,300 visitors this year in third quarter, which is up about 10% from last year and about 136% above what we did pre-COVID. About 400 phone calls during that time, and of course, we also were fielding email inquiries and a larger number of Google messages and Facebook messages as well. So we monitor those. The next slide, please. So we have 2 Facebook pages that we use at the chamber. One is, of course, the chamber page itself, while it is for our association and focuses on businesses and nonprofits. It's a great way for people to find out about things that are happening in the area. And so we do have about 5,000 followers on that page, and our quarterly reach was 177,000. The Hood Canal Visitor Center page is specific to Hoodsport and has been a great asset in capturing when there is a road closure or weather prevents people accessing the trails. And the rangers have been incredible about working with our volunteers to provide us updates. So we can post those to the Visitor Center page on Facebook, as well as, of course, our Google posts. So you'll see there that, of course, a large number of folks following that page are from the Shelton area because, again, Chamber Business Association. But we also see the surrounding area. And a lot of times we're seeing folks coming in because they have friends coming to stay. or they're opening an Airbnb and they're looking to augment that experience for folks. So next slide, please. Our Google landing page there, we have a separate landing page for the caboose itself. And again, great thanks to all of the volunteers who turned out in second quarter to give her some love. The city, thank you for helping us with permits and getting Tully cleaned up as well. It really is nice to see the visitor center looking nice and shiny on Railroad Avenue. And we've gotten some really positive remarks from people stopping in and leaving kind notes, which is lovely to see. The top 3 reasons people are finding that caboose page on Google, usually on their phone, is that they're looking for attractions. It is on the National Historic Registry. They're looking for a visitor center, or oddly enough, we come up when they search for the Aberdeen Visitor Center. We'll try to figure that one out. But you'll also see there, some people are specifically searching for caboose or day trips to and from Shelton. So I always like to see what people are actually looking for that's bringing them to us. Next page. One thing that we started in second quarter and continued in third quarter is that we utilized our hours by flexing the staff we have on our team to provide coverage during special events. So when there is a car show or when there is a festival of sorts, and we know there's going to be a presence, especially in the downtown area, during a time that normally the chamber office wouldn't be open, we flexed our hours to make sure that there's someone in person that can provide really robust and really authentic feedback to our visitors. And so a huge shout out goes to particularly Katie Peck, who's been working in our office on and off since high school, and is on with me now full time while she's going to college. And she was one of our amazing staffers that showed up for these events and really lent another layer to downtown vibrancy during the summertime. And that really goes to show our commitment to providing an excellent visitor experience. And the expectation that folks have of knowing what do you like about where you are, because we don't visit in our own backyard. And so some of the things our team has to learn is like, where would you go to rent an ATV, or where would you go to get on a boat because they have friends or they have family, and it provides a different challenge for them. But I also think it's really amazing for the visitors because they get to hear where their favorite fishing spot is and which part of the trail they like and where they take their dog when they're going out. And we do see canine friends as a bigger market, which is really interesting. So we actually have a really cool photo, courtesy of the museum, of the caboose with one of our timber folks and their dog on the back that Rachel Hansen is working on restoring for us to put in the caboose as well. And next slide. Yep, just any closing questions you might have for us about the visitor services the chamber provides.
Questions? Thank you.
Thank you.
Right. The only business item is resolution to approve a work order. Capital Project Manager Aaron Nix has details for us.
Mayor, council, thank you. It's an honor to work with the city. I want to thank you for that. I bring forward an issue to you. We entered into a work order agreement with RH2 consultants to do some vent hood replacement design work for us. What we have currently, if folks don't know, our reservoirs are very old. They're at least over 50 years old. We have 4 of them that have roof vents that don't meet current code. They basically have screens in them. They allow for airflow to go back and forth. Under the new regulations, the Department of Health is requiring that we put up new vent hoods that have basically a one-way valve on it that only allow it to discharge out. The thought being is you're not allowing pollutants and contaminants back into your water supply. So we thought we could get through this on the cheap. So that's why we initially scoped out this project to not include structural analysis of our reservoirs, with the hopes that we could get through DOH and we get through permitting without doing that. Well, that's not the case. What you have before you, and the reason that why it's coming forward to you as the council, is that it's over the city manager's signing authority. Basically, it's an additional $17,000 to go out and physically do as-builts of those structures, as well as the structural analysis to ensure that when we cut into the top of this thing, we're not going to cause it to leak, to crack, or break. that could be catastrophic for us if something like that happens. So we went back, we worked with them. I will tell you from a budget perspective, we budgeted $100,000 to do the design and construct 2 of them at the time, and that was the start of 2024. We got some estimates to construct these things of about $40,000. So with that, we had to do some of this design work. Obviously, we budgeted another $150K in subsequent year, next year. And these all need to be completed by December 31st of 2025. That's a mandate from the Department of Health. So what our desire is we're hoping that the council will approve us to include this additional engineering structural analysis so that then we can proceed. If indeed the hoods are $40,000 a piece, that provides us with $160,000 plus the 40, that gives us adequate resources to finish this thing and put it behind us. So I'm here before you asking you if you could make a recommendation to put this to the consent agenda at your next meeting.
Thank you, Aaron. Do we have a motion?
Mr. Mayor, I move to place resolution number 1354-1024 onto the consent agenda at the council's December 3, 2024 meeting for further consideration.
Thank you. Sorry. Comments or questions? Needs to be done. Thank you, Aaron. We have a motion and a second to place resolution number 1354-1024 onto the consent agenda on the council December 3rd, 2024 meeting for the consideration. All in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Motion carried. Thank you. All right. On to our action agenda. Now have Parks and Rec Supervisor Gordon as information for us regarding Civic Center rotating art gallery.
Thank you, Thank you, Mayor and members of council. Tonight I bring you the next recommendations for the rotating art gallery. We did a call of artists to our social media art galleries and organizations that we use for outreach. And we had a total of 5 artists for this submission. The deadline for it was on November 1st, and the Arts Commission met on November 5th to jury that round of art. Some of the artists we have is Dennis Go with some watercolor, Elizabeth Jacobson with some digital photography, Larry Harbaugh with some wood carving, Tammy Green with ink and watercolor pieces, and Tom Ryder with some prints. All great art. It's a great rotation for this upcoming one. And then tonight I'm bringing you those requests, and then this rotation will be from December 3rd through February 28th of 2025. Tonight I'm just looking for final approval. Taking questions.
Thank you, George. Do we have a motion?
Mr. Mayor, I move to approve the Shelton Arts Commission's recommendations for placement in the Civic Center rotating art gallery.
All right. Sorry, comments or questions?
I love the diversity of the different art.
Yeah, it's always great to see new stuff coming in. Half of these are artists that we've had multiple times, so it's great to see them returning with different pieces.
Ducks and the drakes were
Yes, the
particularly.
ducks will be in the display case at the top of the stairs.
Great.
Be great to see.
People really enjoy walking in here and looking at the art. I know they're coming in here to pay their bill and they stop and that's really great. So thank you, George.
Thank you.
Thank the Arts Commission as well. All right, we have a motion and a second to approve the Shelton Arts Commission recommendations for the placement of the Civic Center rotating art gallery. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Motion carries. That throws me off every time. Right. Okay, we're recessing for our regular meeting to open a public hearing. Our first item is an ordinance related to the 2025 budget. Finance Director Mike Giddens has more information.
Thank you, Mayor and members of council. So we had a change to the budget. We mentioned it. I didn't have much detail at our first public hearing. Normally we try to bring you the same thing, but we want to get it all right. So here's the change, and it changes things in a few places. Thanks to Don Quisme, who works hand in hand on this, we found we had a number of places to change. The changes in the general fund, the expenditures increased. So I'll draw your attention to page 4 of the new budget. So that's with the city manager letter dated November 8th. So on the general fund line, it increased, so I think, just to summarize it, we're using more of the end fund balance to pay for 2025. So it increased to $1,131,267 out of that ending fund utilization. This we have not included an expense in the community development department. This is an expense related to the comprehensive plan. It's professional services. There is some grant money tied to this. That was included, but we didn't have a high enough expenditure in professional services. Other than that, the presentation of the budget is exactly the same as it was at that first public hearing.
Right. Donna, does anyone sign up for public testimony?
No, Mr. Mayor.
They were reading of ordinance number 2023-0924.
Ordinance number 2023-0924. An ordinance of the city of Shelton, Washington, adopting the budget for the calendar year 2025.
Thank you, Donna. Do we have a motion?
Mr. Mayor, move to adopt ordinance number 2023-0924 as presented.
Thank you. Comments or questions? Thank you, Mike, and your staff for all your hard work. All right, we have a motion and a second to adopt ordinance number 2023-0924 presented. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Public hearing is closed. We're now open another public hearing. We have another item from Mike.
So we're on to property taxes. Okay, make sure I was on the right thing. We call these ad valorem, and I just wanted to say, all that means is according to value. These are ad valorem taxes based on the assessed value of the item being taxed, in this case, property. So we got final numbers from Mason County Assessor. Really, just as it was with SMPD, the only change is we had less new construction value for us. So that's the decrease. Less value on new construction. Everything else on that's the same, but it changes the overall amount for both the EMS levy as well as the city's primary property tax levy. So there's a little bit different amount that they use for that. That's shown on the updated document that was placed at your spot for the meeting. So this again, hits the 1% and funds both the EMS levy that we have and the city's main property tax levy.
Thank you, Mike. Donna, any for public testimony?
No, Mr. Mayor.
We have a reading of ordinance number 2024-0924.
Ordinance number 2024-0924. An ordinance of the city of Shelton, Washington, setting the amount of the annual ad valorem taxes in the city of Shelton for calendar year 2025.
Thank you, Donna. Do we have a motion?
Mr. Mayor, I move to adopt ordinance number 2024-0924 as presented.
Right. Comments or questions? Right. We have motion and second to adopt ordinance number 2024-0924 presented. All in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. This public hearing is closed. We're resuming a regular meeting. We have one more from Mike.
All right, so the master fee schedule also had one correction, and I mentioned this at the meeting. This falls under the water system connection GFC on page 20. The cost for a 3/4 inch was corrected to be $3,030. It had read $3,300, so that was an increase. It had just been entry error. That's corrected. Everything else in the master fee schedule remains the same as presented.
Right. Donna, any public comment?
No, Mr. Mayor.
All right, and we're reading the resolution number 1348-0924.
Resolution number 1348-0924. A resolution of the city of Shelton, Washington, updating and establishing the city's master fee schedule for fiscal year 2025.
Thank you, Donna. Do we have a motion?
Mr. Mayor, I move to adopt resolution number 1348-0924 as presented.
Second.
Right. Comments or questions? Comments or questions? We have a motion and a second to adopt resolution number 1348-0924 is presented. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. All right. Next is an ordinance regarding height limit removal, Community and Economic Development Director Jay Hill. Details for it. Why put that out?
Thank you, Mayor, Deputy Mayor, and Council. As you'll remember, back in September, well, in August, there was a study session to talk about what to do with height limits in the city, where they should be located. We were direction to proceed with just approving the height limits and allowing the building code to dictate the maximum height of structures. We still have zoning regulations and building code regulations, design review regulations that would, prevent horribly ugly buildings from occurring, but they can be taller now. And hopefully encourage some of the development we want to see related to affordable and workforce housing. So as we talked about this in September, there was a required 60-day review by Commerce. Commerce did not provide comment, as they are allowed to, but are not required to, so we don't always hear from them. But no news is good news. So that means we see the adoption today. That's still a flavor of the council. So I'm here to answer any questions about that. Obviously, I gave a much longer presentation with going over kind of the nuts and bolts of it, but I'm happy to dive into which details here.
Thank you, Jay. Donna, anyone have public comment?
No, there isn't, Mr. Mayor.
They have a reading of ordinance number 2021-0824.
Ordinance number 2021-0824. An ordinance of the city of Shelton, Washington, amending Title 20 of the Shelton Municipal Code for the purpose of abolishing building height limits.
Thank you, Donna. Do we have a motion?
Mr. Mayor, I move to approve ordinance number 2021-0824 as presented.
Thank you. Comments or questions?
Just wanted to know if anyone has taken this up on this offer of or thinking about having buildings that are higher than what they were before.
We haven't had anybody approach us yet.
Thanks.
Well, hopefully this will allow us more than two-story apartment buildings in Shelton and help us in our comp plan moving forward. Get locations actually for apartments and get some density for local. So, any other questions? We have a motion and a second to adopt ordinance number 2021-0824 is presented. All in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Great. I'll get used to that.
One more.
Okay, our last item is the resolution to approve legal defense costs. The manager, Martin Ziegler, has the details for it.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, Council. In early October, the city of Shelton was served with a summons by Knockfearna LLC for the failure to issue a building permit for a marijuana production facility on Mill Street. The city did not issue the permit because their plans did not meet building and fire codes. That was clearly communicated with the applicant a number of times. In fact, this dates back to sometime in 2017 when this process was started. Since that time, and several iterations of different applications and different representatives from the applicant, they have now filed suit against the city and the mayor solely as a council member. Under Municipal Code 2.82, city officials are entitled to legal defense if they're acting in good faith for the city. I will say that the mayor has no role in permitting or permit review processes. So in my opinion, he certainly was acting in good faith in this measure. So this is a procedural request to provide legal defense for the mayor with the council's approval.
Do we have a motion?
Mr. Mayor, I move to approve resolution number 1356-1124 as presented.
Second.
Excuse me, Deputy Mayor.
Resolution number 1356-1124.
We need to see if there's public comment.
Is there public comment?
And there is not. And then we need a reading of the resolution.
We get a reading for the resolution of 1356-1124.
Resolution number 1356-1124. A resolution of the council of the city of Shelton, Washington, approving legal defense for Marinesco in the matter of Montpelier LLC versus the city of Shelton.
And now I move to approve resolution number 1356-1124 as presented.
Second.
All in favor, say.
Aye.
All opposed? Sorry, I'm a little thrown off by that, guys.
I don't know. So you're just seeking, you're removing yourself from the vote?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
so you're abstaining at this point? Okay, so the record can show Mayor abstained from the vote.
What is that noise?
Good question. Okay.
I've been right in the college.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
that makes sense.
Mark, you have a city manager report for us?
Just a couple things tonight. There's a windstorm apparently going on, right? As we know. I'll assure you, our Public Works Department has been meeting and coordinating any response to this event. So we're prepared to deploy our staff to clear roads and assist in any measures that might take place, not only in the city, but regionally as needed. So appreciate all of their work and their standby tonight. The parking lot at 425 West Coda, just across the street, with the Lincoln Court is going to be closed as of tomorrow morning for construction of the tree maze. So trees started showing up today and they'll continue showing up tomorrow. And then the volunteers that are involved with that will start installing the maze. And that'll be closed until after the first year when the maze is taken down. So we're happy to house that next door over at the parking lot. Also recognize last night, the mayor and myself attended the Creative District Forum. Great turnout, a lot of people that haven't been necessarily involved in other events in this community. So it's great to have new people and new blood involved, particularly the artist community that is so ingrained throughout Mason County. And there's some great things that are continuing to happen with the Creative District. So we'll make sure and have some more updates with the council as that gets worked through with the committee that's working on that, and Director Hill, who's leading up that charge. So that is all I have for you tonight.
Council, have any new items for discussion?
Tomorrow is Mayor Niska's birthday, so I all wish him a happy birthday.
29. Yep. All right.
Great time for the pro, I think. All right, any other council items for discussion? Embarrassed.
Wanted to let everyone know, come on down to Coda Street and go look at that tree maze. Bring the family, get hot chocolate and have a good time.
We have a few days for that, but yes, sounds
right.
good. Also, we need to congratulate our judge first.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we'll have a presentation at the December 3rd meeting, correct, Judge Greer? Yeah, and so talk a little bit more about the Innovating Justice grant that the Judge Greer and the Municipal Court received just last week. So quite proud of that, of the program that they've continued to provide to our community and have had great results.
Okay, our next meeting is Tuesday, December 3rd at